to all participants to our live session today about process insights. So, as Amusha already mentioned, if there is anything unclear, also feel free to use the chat or raise your hands. Then we can also unmute yourself, and then we can also go into these topics. But in general, this is not such an interactive session where we are going really in a lot of discussions or practical exercises. This is more a presenting an introduction, which I will provide to you. So we have some slides which we will look into, and later we will also switch into a live demo that you are able to see the system. But they are presenting from myself, and then you get a good feeling what Process Insights is about and how you can use it. Um, I hope you are all able to see already my presentation. Maybe you can give me some reactions in the chat that I see, okay, the presentation is seen, so that I'm able to go into the first slide. And perfect, there is already the first reaction. So let us start. And my first topic I want to talk about with you is SAP Signavio in general, so that we understand what is the fitting from SAP Signavio within SAP, and then later we will focus on process insights on the next slide, so that we also see how how SAP Signavio process insights is fitting in the transformation suite. But first of all, when we are talking about SAP Signavio, we want with SAP Signavio helps to achieve the SAP vision. The vision is enable every organization and every industry to become a network of intelligent and sustainable enterprise. And this is some of the big challenges corporates, organizations today have to become agile, to be able to react on new circumstances, and also transform their business in the digital age, so that they really can work as an intelligent enterprise as described. And therefore, we need something what is helping us, what is enabling us to do these steps. When we are talking about SAP in general, we are knowing we have different offerings in these areas like human capital management, spend management, supply chain management, and customer relationship management. But around that, we are also, or in all these areas, we have processes. And processes needs to be planned, needs to be described, needs to be known that we are really can execute. And there, SAP Signavio come into the game and should help. This is such of these or some of these ecosystem solutions. And with that, SAP Signavio is a cloud-based process transformation suite that gives companies the ability to understand, improve, and transform all of their end-to-end business processes fast and at scale. So what does it mean? With SAP Signavio, across all these different areas, we can understand our processes, first of all. We can analyze them, we see how we are executing them, we can plan to improve them, we can see where we have these improvement opportunities and what should be done to do that. And in the end, also with that, we can transform our business to have a more better process, which is which is also implemented and is also known by our employees. And that we are able to do this, we have a foundation also at SAP. This is a BTP, Business Technology Platform, and on this platform, the system or a lot of systems and connections are running, and also the system we are talking about today, and this is the SAP Signavio Process Insight system. Because SAP Signavio Process Transformation Suite, so the general SAP Signavio Transformation Suite is not only Process Insights. This is only one module, one solution, which we are having, where we are focusing a specific topic. When we are talking about transformation in general, we have to talk about more topics. For example, topics like process design and modeling. We have to talk about process automation, and also, this is our capability we will focus today, also the process analysis part. So how we can analyze our process, how we can understand how we are executing our processes. And in this area, we have two different solutions. One solution, process intelligence, where we are focusing on the process steps, really detailed, where we can look how we are executing our different variants of processes. And other solution, our focus today, process insights, where we are on a milestone perspective. So we have the main steps only, the main phases of a process, and there we can understand how we are working on it and why it's so helpful that we have also this perspective or this granularity of analyzing processes is that it's really quickly possible and we have very quick first understanding. Because process insights, we not have to build up a, a big data model. We have not to create a big transformation of our data, which we are having in our systems. Process insights can easily connect to our system, and with that, we can directly see how we are performing our processes in these different uh, or on this process milestone perspective. And it's not only that we are seeing that we are seeing how we are performing, it's also that we directly get recommendations what we should do to improve our processes. So we have on the one hand side the process analysis part, and also additionally to that the process improvement part, where we have the recommendation what to do immediately as a corrective action or what we should do maybe on a long-term improvement. That we are able to do this, that we are able to have this plug and connect and directly see our results. Of course, we have to be in a specific environment that the data are structured and so on. In this specific environment, and that we are knowing these processes very well, is that that's only working for SAP systems. So for different SAPs, for specific SAP systems, we can connect process insights and see there how we are executing our processes and getting recommendations. And how it looks in detail, we will see in a second when we are going into the tool. Quickly to wrap it up, here also the slide. We have, of course, also the other capabilities when you want to go deeper into processes with process intelligence. When we want to model processes, we have here the process manager, modeling journeys to journey modeler. And when we are talking about the process governance automation, so how we are steering our process management, we can look into process governance and SAP build process automation as a solution for automate your operative processes. And this is, of course, also again connected to our analysis, because one outcome can be that you have the automation potential, and maybe this automation potential can be leveraged with SAP build process automation. Around all that, we have also value accelerators, so content which is directly helping organizations to start. They not have to start on a empty page, that they have already best practice process models or best practice analysis capabilities, what they can use. When we are talking about that in the context of process insights, we know the complete process insights solution is more or less content which is directly available, because we have a pre-built structure and we are only pushing our data from our systems to this structure. And with that, we can directly see what is possible or how we are performing. And not only how we are performing internally, we can also see benchmarking across or within our industry. Okay, this as a short introduction regarding uh, the general introduction, how SAP Signavio fits in the SAP strategy. So really to help help our customers, to help organizations to bring their or to improve their business, to bring them to an intelligent network. And then we have seen on the last slide how we can or how process insights included in the SAP Signavio transformation suite. So it is exactly this analysis capability which we have to easily understand our processes and for which system it is available. So where it's helpful. This is for SAP ERP, SAP ECC, SAP S/4HANA, SAP Ariba, SAP Extended Warehouse Management, and SAP Supplier Relationship Management. And this was extended step by step. So first of all, we had the first systems available, which you can analyze with Process Insights. And with the last releases, more of them are coming here, that they are also now available for you to use them and to analyze them. And with that, we can also directly generate recommendation to prioritize the automation and business improvement activities. So it's often a challenge for organizations that they're not knowing where to start and what are the next steps. And here with Process Insights, they get directly the guidance, what is where they are, their biggest challenges, their biggest issues, and also not only where they are, also what they should do to work on them, to improve them. And another challenge, which is often there when we are talking about process analysis and how we are performing within our processes, is that we are not knowing what is a good value and how we are performing compared to our peers. And this is also where Process Insights is really helpful, because we have directly benchmarking available. So internal benchmarking, so how our different organizational units or different entities performing uh, in these processes, our different purchasing organizations, and also external benchmarking, where we are seeing, okay, how our peers in the same industry or handling this topic, and what are their values. Are we maybe a low performer or a high performer, and so maybe not so much improvement potential in this area, but maybe then in the other. Okay, this adds a general introduction about Process Insights. Let us go to the next slide, because I want to explain a little bit what is Process Insights about. Process Insights is about process analysis. So we are doing their process analysis, and process analysis is an interdisciplinary discipline. So it's not a topic for one or two specific experts which are working on that. We have to come together on these topics. We need process knowledge, we need system knowledge, we need maybe automation knowledge, and all the different stakeholders have to come together. And a topic what is never to underestimate is that we need also the sponsorship from the people who are in charge of these processes. So we need the sponsorship, we need the IT knowledge, the process knowledge, all comes there together. And then we can do process analysis. And process analysis is coming out of different topics which are already there. So different areas, different use cases. And with all these combined topics, we have then process analysis. So we have the business intelligence topic, where we are also visualizing how we are performing. Of course, here in process analysis, this is not exactly the same. This is only using parts of business intelligence, exactly the parts where we are talking about the process area. So where we have process data, where we have a flow orientation of our data. So all that is coming here together into our process analysis. And with that, we get the data transparency, because the analysis is always built on our data we have in our systems. There we have a lot of transactional data. And in this transactional data, we have the truth about our processes. So when we are using this data and bringing the transparency in our data, we can analyze our process. And the last topic is always, we are talking about process performance analysis. So we see how we are performing in our processes and how we can improve them. So all these disciplines come here also together. So we are using part out of all these disciplines also in process analysis. So now we have understood what is maybe the theory behind, what is the theory behind Process Insights. And the next step, what we have to understand together, is that we also have to understand why we are doing it. Because it's nice to have a nice software solution which is showing us something, but it's much more important for us to understand why we are doing process analysis. And when we are talking about process analysis, we have different use cases, and they are listed on this slide here. We have the first topic, identifying inefficiencies. Why we are having inefficiencies? Maybe we have some bottlenecks, we have high cycle time, and so on. And the result is often um, known in an organization. But what are the underlying reasons for it? And there we can help with process analysis, process insights to look into this topic and see, okay, here is that topic and how we can work on it. So really the classic topic of improving our processes. This is also a topic which you see on the right-hand side as the first topic. It is a continuous improvement topic. So it goes hand in hand with the first topic I've already explained. So regular process analysis fosters a culture of continuous improvement, encouraging employees to constantly seek ways to enhance processes. With that, we are pushing also the culture of process improvement because we are looking in our processes and we are seeing where we have problems and we can directly jump in and take the actions to improve our processes. So we have the inefficiencies and then directly we are creating the culture of continuous business improvement. We have also, as a big topic, compliance and standardizations. This is a topic which is often a challenge also when we are talking about business transformations, because often the first step there should be to understand what is our actual way of doing our processes, how we are executing our processes today. Because with that, we have to start when we want to standardize something. We cannot say, okay, this is our plan for the future when we are not knowing, okay, where we actually are. And this is often a challenge how to get these insights. What is our actual process or ways of working? And here, process insights as a tool or process analysis in general can really help because we not need thousands of consultants which are documenting then the ways how we are working. We can use our data for doing it. And with that, we get directly the insights of performing or how we are performing our processes and how we are executing our processes. The next topic, quality improvement, I think it's clear we can work on our outcomes of our processes. We can have more effective processes because we are knowing where we have errors, how often we have a failed execution, where we have not coming to the end we expected. And with that, we can work on quality improvement. Risk management, of course, also process analysis can help identify potential risk and control points, allowing for better risk management and migration. And the last topic, cost reduction, of course, one of the biggest topics, which is often in mind when we are talking about process analysis, but not the only main use case. So we are not doing here process analysis only to reduce our cost or to lay off some personnel. It's more that we first of all want to understand where we have our problems. And with that, we can improve our efficiencies. And we can, with that, doing cost reduction. And this is maybe also not only personal costs that can be cost that we have lower data storage costs because we see, okay, we have data which we are no longer need in our systems, and then we can reduce it. So we can really work on different topics here and improve our processes. And this is why we should, or why we can use process insights. So now we have understood why we should use process insights. But what are the detailed capabilities we have then available with it? And therefore, we have to understand that we have in process insights two different perspectives. We have on the one hand side, the LOB perspective, the line of business perspective. So we can come out of this perspective and look into the finance area. We can look into sourcing and procurement, sales, R&D and engineering, and so on. For all these different topics, there is a lot of content available and helpful content. And when you are coming out of this direction, you can use this as an entry point. The other perspective, end-to-end process. So we not want to only focus on our key performance indicators out of the finance area. We want to look into the complete end-to-end process. And of course, we have also finance topics in the source to pay process. But these are not the only topics. And when we want to have the full end-to-end view, we can also come out of this direction. And when we have such a responsibility, we can go into it and see, okay, what are our modular processes within our end-to-end process? What are the topics there? What are the issues? What I should do? And so on. And the listed LOBs and the listed end-to-end processes on this slide are the information which are available in Process Insights. So we have included the topics of finance, sourcing and procurement, sales, R&D, and so on a line of business side, and on the end-to-end process side, we have here the different end-to-end processes. Okay, let me bring it together, summarize here the capabilities. And we have here 3 different points. First of all, our first point, understanding your process with delivered process flow and standard performance indicators. This is a part of process analysis. We have process flows that are our process flow on the main phases of a process, how we are performing in these different main process steps. And this is our first analysis option, capability. The second option are the standard performance indicators. So we are looking into specific values, specific standard performance indicators, and understand how we are performing in this way. And when we have understood our processes with this process analysis, we can also go into the deep dive of this data. We can filter our data. We can find the root cause with all the capabilities which are coming on that, because we have not only a high level overview, we have a lot of filter capabilities there, and we can really drill down into the issues we have in our processes. And then the last point is that we can go from fast insights to immediate results using the tailored correction, innovation, and innovation recommendations. That is the second step. After the process analysis, after we have understood and drilled down into the details, then we can go into our actions and take really our correction and innovation recommendations. And this is working within 24 hours. When we are having all prepared, when all is running, then we can see these results within 24 hours. I have added here another slide to my presentation, which is showing you the overall setup of process insights, because there we have explained the different entry points, and on the next slide you will see how we come then into the details. The different entry points are the entry points end-to-end processes, the end-to-end perspective on the left-hand side, and the LOB perspective, the line of business perspective of the right-hand side. And then you as a user can decide, okay, what is my entry point from where I want to come? Then you can select your process, for example, source to pay. And from there, you come then to the second area where we have process flows, performance indicators, correction recommendation, and innovation recommendation. And this was what we have seen also on the slide before. There we had the 2 different areas, process analysis, process flows, and performance indicators, and then correction recommendation and innovation recommendation to take the actions. And this we can split up into analyzing process performance in the process flows or performance indicators, and improving our process performance with correction recommendation and innovation recommendation. And that are not 2 separated worlds, because process analysis is always our first step of, or analyzing our process performance is always our first step to do afterwards our improving our process. And the connection is then that we have here directly in the end, after we have understood our issues, the link to the specific correction recommendation and innovation recommendation. Then we have no longer only a long list for recommendations for a source to pay process, which we would see when we are coming directly to a correction recommendation. Here we see then a tailored view for the specific issue we have selected, what we should do there. Let me quickly go through these different topics. And with that, we have also discussed a lot of slides already, and then we will switch in a second into the system and see what we can do there. But first of all, what are process flows? Process flow are the selection of available process flow. So for example, for source to pay, there are different modular processes which we can then select. And when you select one specific process flow of that, you see the process progress. So how many documents, how many items are executed through these different main steps. And within these main steps, we see then directly the percentage. So how many documents from our initial number are coming to the next step and the next steps and so on, so that we see in the end also a complete completion rate. So how many of our items are executed completely. Additionally to that, we have also our blocker and other information. Blocker are issues or possible issues which are identified in our process that are typical problems in a specific process. So there's a lot of consulting knowledge implemented in the tool because we are knowing what are the typical problems, and they are now matched with your data. And then you see, okay, do I have here this typical topic or not? Because you see how often this occurs in your data. And then you can also drill down into this blocker and see the documents which are behind there. You can do the filtering. And with that, in the end, also you come into the correction and innovation recommendation to take this action. It's very similar on the process or the performance indicator side. Only that we have there not the modular processes where we are listed. We have they clustered in different topics. And the topics, the categories are automation rate, backlog, changes, customizing configuration, exception, master data, and throughput. And from there, also we see specific topics. So for example, what is our automation rate in a specific topic? So how many invoices are handled automatically? And then we see a ratio. And with this ratio, we see, okay, we are maybe a good performer or a low performer, and then switching to the recommendation, what we can do to increase the number of automation rate. So this is the connection here. Of course, you can also directly jump to the correction and innovation recommendation and take the actions. What I think what I have to explain a little bit is the difference between correction and innovation recommendation. The correction recommendation are actions which can immediately done. So maybe some configuration changes in your source system to clean up your system and what you should do there, the different steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are listed in the detailed description from the correction recommendation. So we can come from the list of correction recommendation where we have the overview to the details. And this was what I explained before, 1, 2, 3, 4, the different steps which you have to do this action. And in the end, we have also the innovation recommendations where we have a long-term improvement. So when we want to implement a new system and implement a new solution, we have directly the link to the topic we have today and what can be maybe a solution which we implement for the future where we can solve it. And also there we have different categories. And I see there is a question, can customer logic? So we are here focusing on the main steps. So we are not going into the details of customized configuration. This is the reason because we have a direct connection. Of course, customized systems can be analyzed, but only for the content which is available. We have not the capabilities and process insights to build our own calculation for different numbers or build our own dashboards. When we want to go into these details, there is a complementary solution, process intelligence, where we can really go deeper into our systems, into our data. Here we have a predefined structure where we are pushing our data, and in this structure we are seeing how we are performing. And this is working, of course, also for customized systems because we are focusing on the main steps which are still available there. Maybe in between something customer specific, but this is not a part of the system. I think this will be also clear when we are coming into the system and seeing the example. But I see there's another raised hand. Maybe we have time for this one question. So, Keith, I will provide you the speaker allowance, and now you can ask the question.
Sure. Thank you, Wilbo. It's a very interactive session and it's a learning session for me as well. And thanks for walking through the process insights. So, just want to check. Well, I could see for some process flows and the process insights because I just work for a couple of my clients for my organization and I have implemented the process insights as well. Just want to take this opportunity, just out of curiosity as well. Just want to check. So basically, we have the reference date time period, right, in the process insights for every process flow, and there's a reference collection where I could see every data in the every date for every process flows is it's different, right? There's an inconsistency in the dates, right? So there's a reference date collection period which is for, it is predefined or we can change that as well.
So, yeah, maybe the question is always already going a little bit deeper into these topics. I will show it in the system later again, but let me quickly answer this question. So the reference period is a fixed time which is coming with the system, which is defined for each process, and it is defined in this way that it's a typical time frame for these processes. So our consultants, which are helped us to build this system, have said, okay, this is a good time frame for doing it. This cannot be adjusted to the reference period, and this is specific for each process. And this is also described when you are looking into the guided analysis, for example, when you want to go into the details there, you will also receive more information regarding this reference period. And I will show it in the system later where you find it for the others. Okay,
Thank you.
with that, let us continue. Um, and we see here now the main capabilities, and that is only a summary of what we have already seen before or what we have discussed before, the different topics of recommendation, benchmarking, filtering options. The only topic which is new here are the last two bullet points, value analysis of improvement opportunities. So we can also do with the tool directly a value analysis, because when you want to improve, you have to understand what is the value for the organization, what is the uh, return on investment I have it. So how I can calculate the benefits there, what I have when I increase the automation rate. Or another topic, the last topic, transformation planning, because this is one of the biggest use cases I've already explained. Um, as I explained, why we are using process insights, it is that we can directly also support these use cases, transformation projects, and there are specific content which is available in Process Insights which help specific in transformation projects. And so you can also use this as an entry point and see the relevant topics directly there. But these are not new content. This is still the content which we will also see here in the other area. Okay, and with that, we now want to start with it, and we go step by step. Let me check the time, and I think we have the time through the different areas. We will start with the process flow. I will give you a short introduction to it, and then we will go into the system, see what is there, and then we will go to the next part, performance indicators, and so on. And in process flows, we get the visibility into your organization performance for typical business processes and their phases. So that there are defined processes which are available, and for these main phases, we can see how we are executing. We can visualize the progression of a baseline set. So this was the initial set of items, for example, the initial set of invoices we are looking, and how these object instances through typical business processes and their phases within a given time frame. This is the reference period you mentioned before. So in this defined time frame, we can see how these documents are processed. And at last, we have the topic of provide transparency into the overall processes and be able to assess where you face bottlenecks, lack efficiencies, and need improvements. That are the issues we can identify in this topic, and they are so-called the blocker items, where we can see how often they occur in our data. We have also some more information what is available there, but here I will not want to go into the detail. I want to show you this directly in the system. So let me switch to SAP Signavio Process Insights. And hopefully you see now on my screen Process Insights as a module. You see I have opened my web browser and I see the general overview page of Process Insights, the starting page. The general starting page has in Signavio always the same view. We see here in the left upper corner the module where we are actually in. So we are in Process Insights. When we are in another tool like Process Intelligence and so on, you can also see it here. This is always good for orientation. On the right-hand side, we have our helping area and our personal profile where I can change the language and so on, or where I can contact the support, which is also really helpful here in Process Insights, that we have an in-app help, an in-app guide where you can search for topic, where you find also topics like an introduction video. So when you have questions for navigating what is behind this field and so on, always click here on the right-hand side and then you can go into the details. What I also want to introduce you here already is that we have for specific topics, also here the chance in our helping area to start a guided tour. Because here in the guided tour, you have a step-by-step walkthrough through the system, and it's explained what is behind there and what you can do. We will not use this guided tour for now because we will do it more on the freeway and look into my explanations. But of course, when you want to follow me later or when you want to read through later of it, then you can use this guided tour as a good navigation or walkthrough in the system. On the left-hand side, we have the general navigation. This can be also expanded or collapsed. And there we see we are actually on the starting page where I see directly some favorites of mine where I can filter on specific processes and go to it. And then we have here on the left-hand side our different entry points. And I have explained we have in general, first of all, two entry points, the end-to-end processes and the line of businesses. And when I click on them, I see the different line of businesses we have seen also on the slide before. So asset management, finance, and so on, which are available here in the tool, and I can go into it. It's the same for end-to-end processes, where I see my end-to-end processes, idea to market, source to pay, plan to fulfill, and assigned to these end-to-end processes, of course, the modular processes which are part of source to pay. And when I click on it, I came then to the detailed page to process flows, performance indicators, correction recommendation, and innovation recommendation. Only to close this topic here on the left-hand side, we had also the topic of value analysis. So when you want to calculate what is the value of my improvement, what is my possible improvement potential, then you can go into this topic and calculate here your total potential value and what you have already realized and so on. The details can be also adjusted. And the same topic for transformation planning, what we also discussed already. With that, let us start with end-to-end processes and navigate there to source to pay, because then I see the relevant process flows for source to pay. We have 32 modular processes in source to pay, and that I'm selected this here. I see here also in the header with the path where I'm coming from, end-to-end processes, source to pay, all modular processes. When I want to see all the end-to-end processes, I can also set the filter, and then I see all modular process flows which are here available. But I want to switch back to source to pay, that the selection is a little bit quicker here, and then we have here all the items which are relevant for us. And when I now want to go into one specific topic, so for example, I want to understand the process flow better, supplier invoice issuing with purchase order to FAIP clearing, I see directly some general information here in the table. So in the list view, how many objects, documents we have in our data set, what is the completion rate, so how many documents are coming to the last stage or last phase of our process, what is the average completion time. So in average, it takes 78.6 days to come from the first milestone to the last milestone. We have here the list of identified blockers, so possible issues we have in our process, the date range, and also where it is additional belonging to. And when I then click on these details, I come to the view of a process flow. And first of all, let me explain why we are talking here also process flows, because we see here exactly the flow of our documents. So first of all, we have our 72.2K documents, and they are executed here in the different phases. And when I scroll complete to the right-hand side, I see the last or the last phase where I see FIAP items are cleared. And there we see also 96 of these 72K documents are coming here to the last date. And this is also our completion rate, which we have seen in the table and which we see also directly in the header at the top. And with that, we get a lot of helpful information. So how long it takes an average from one step to the next step, from these steps to these steps from the first step. That are the different times we have here listed below or within the blockers. What is also really relevant for us to know is that we can switch the view from a view where we have the absolute numbers, so the documents, and to a view where we are looking more into the monetary value. So what is the monetary value behind this document? When we are talking about the invoice, there's a monetary value in this invoice, and this can also be used to analyze our data. And with that, the numbers are changing here. So for example, with that, the completion rate is a little bit below. So it seems that we have some invoices with a higher value, which are not completed in the end. And also the percentage of our blockers, which we see here below, are changing when we are switching from the monetary value into the absolute value. What else we can see here is that we have here our different blockers of information. So for example, a classic topic in the supplier invoice issuing purchase order to FAAP clearing process is that supplier invoice issued before purchase order. Maybe you know Maverick buying. This is exactly this use case. And we see 5% of our invoices having this issue. And when I want to go more into details, I can click on it. And then I see here more details about this topic I have selected. Now I'm in supplier invoice issued before purchase order. You see also the path here at the top. And then I see, okay, 5% of our documents are here affected. And then I can go into the industry benchmark. So we are seeing, okay, that is very well how we are performing there compared to our peers. And I can also go from here more into the filter options because I want to understand what is behind there, what are the topics, and then I can click here on my filters and I have here a filter hierarchy. So I can select something on the left-hand side, and when I have selected, I'm directly seeing the results here. So now I'm only seeing the company code KR01, and these are here these document types. And I can also include here more information. So what, for example, the clearing date cleared on, so I can easily adjust it. And when I select here something, it is directly here also within my visualization before. So when I have activated a filter, I've not activated a filter, it is also having some influence here directly. I can also go here into the detail page where I have the full list. So I have the invoice document number with all the detailed information which are included. So for example, the clearing date and so on is also available here in the table, and it can be also downloaded from here directly out of the systems. Trends is when we have multiple data loads here included, then we see how we are evolving over time. And the last topic is the correction and innovation recommendations. So let's jump to the next topic where I have the connection. So what I can do to improve this topic. Here we have only an innovation recommendation on a long-term improvement. So let me go back into this view. Because we have to understand two more topics before we go to the next part. And the next, the 2 point topics I want to explain is, first of all, that we can also filter here on a specific improvement opportunity, because it's sometimes overwhelming when we have such many informations and how to focus. And then you can say, okay, I want to focus on late payments. And then you see directly highlighted, okay, which in blockers are relevant when I want to focus this topic. And here I see, for example, that this is really relevant. FIAP items cleared after net due date. So we have a lot of items which are cleared after that net due date. So this is this topic. What else we have to understand? We can, of course, also filter on the general level. So I can directly go here also into the filter that I see all the information. And I have also here available the guided analysis, reference guide with guided analysis. The guided analysis is only available for some topics. And then we have not only the explanation around this process, we have additional available also the typical improvement opportunities and what we can do to analyze it. So I can jump into avoid late payments and have directly an explanation what I should do, how I should filter to do this. This is a guided analysis, which is part of our analysis here. Any questions to this topic? I see there is a question from Anik again. We have to look that we stay in time, so please ask quickly, and then we continue to the next topic.
Thank you once again, Wilco. Basically, one more question. Uh, uh, in a couple of process flows I see, we don't have the monetary value. Uh, why there is a reason? Is there for any compliance regarding that? Because for a couple of my processes, I could see for purchase requisitions to PO, right? When we convert the PR to PO, we don't have the monetary values. So what's the reason behind that?
Maybe it's deactivated from the configuration that it's not should be shown because it's yeah, maybe a confidential topic with the monetary value, so it can also be deactivated. Maybe this is the reason behind. But to answer this in detail, I have to see the system. But this could be a problem.
Okay, and the last question is, I could see Insights is just API plugins integration tool where we just only plug in with S4 ACC. So it is only limited to S4 ACC, or we can also do it for SAP Ariba as well.
For SAP Ariba, it's also possible that it's available for all the systems I have named before on the slides. There was one slide where they are named, and you will also find it in the user guide which systems are available. So when you are searching for it, Ariba, for example, is possible to connect to Process Insights.
Okay. Can you just please name quickly a couple of, so just can make a note of it if you don't mind, please?
What do you need?
Can you? Okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. I
Yeah,
got that.
and otherwise, feel free to look into the user guide because I think we have to go on.
Yeah.
And also, sorry for the next person. There's another question. I try that we keep on the time, so we have to go to the next topic. Maybe we have some 1 or 2 minutes in the end to discuss your questions, but first of all, let us discuss it. Because we have still some topics here left, and the next topic is the performance indicators. So we have also the other analysis options. So when we are not focusing on the main parts of the process, when we are focusing on specific topics like, for example, terms of payment usage in FIAP invoices cross-company code, or when we want to look into an automation rate, we see here directly the different performance indicators, and then I can see, okay, what is my automation rate for supplier invoice issuing, and there is an industry benchmark available. We have 123 items which are included in this calculation, and we have from these items 54% which are automatically invoiced. And then I see directly when I go into the details, the same information we know already from the process flow. So we can go a little bit quicker through it. So we have also here, first of all, an overview page where we have the header information. We have here the reference guide. Again, here, reference guide with guided analysis. So I can go into the details. I can switch to the monetary value. I see which data I actually looking into it. And I see here also the reference period, which I have not shown on this on the process flow before, but this is exactly the same what we have also here. Um, I can then also go into the details. I see here's a company benchmarking. It's filtered now on company code. I see how it is the industry benchmarking. So we are here not so good performing. We are low performing here. And I can also go into the details of this information. So I see then all the objects which are here within in this performance indicator, and I have here all the documents listed, and I can also work on this and see what is behind them. What we have also available is, of course, a link directly to the correction recommendation. So when you want to automate or increase your automation rate, you can directly go into the correction recommendation, and then you have here the information what you can do. And then you can come directly to the recommended action. So this is a shortcut to this action. But we not want to use a shortcut for now because I want to also show you the general navigation. And therefore I navigated back to source to pay, and then I can switch from performance indicator to correction recommendation. And in correction recommendation, we have some the full list of correction recommendations which we have. The recommendation in general is a general recommendation, so they are not based on our data, but what is based on our data is the finding, because there we are matching the data which we have connected with the issue. So for example, we have here a topic where we see a lot of open purchase order items were found where the planned delivery date is at least 1 year in the past. So there is a topic that we have a lot of old purchase order which are still open, which are not closed. And this is, of course, a lot of data which we are storing. And when we want to work on it, we can directly reduce the data management cost when we are solving this problem. And how we are solving this problem, this you know already. This is behind this recommendation. So I can click on this recommendation. Okay, there's something not working. Let me. Okay, I have here any problems before it works. Nevertheless, let us continue. So what you should do, so what is the action behind, is described directly there. We have seen it, for example, before as we was here. No, that was the automation rate. Let me switch back to that because this worked before. So I can click on the correction recommendations. This link is working now. And then you see, okay, what should be the action, what you should execute. And these are directly actions which you have to perform or which can be performed in the source system to do it more in a more automated way. Yeah, with that, let us go back to the correction recommendation. And here you see also it is always linked to the value driver affected. So you can also filter on a specific value driver when you want to focus on reduced finance cost because you are coming out of the finance perspective, or when you want to reduce data management cost, when you're coming more out of an IT perspective, you can filter on that. And they are also evaluated, so how much impact and effort they have. Impact is really here a high number and an effort is low, then it's easy to implement. The effort is calculated, it's a standard value, so it's not coming out of your data. It is an experience value out of the consulting knowledge which is implemented here. So you can directly go into it. And I see there is a lot of questions which are raising their hands, but sorry for that. I think we have not the time to cover them. We have to discuss also the last topic. And the last topic is here, the innovation recommendation. So we have seen the correction recommendation where we can directly, or where we get directly the action, what we should do in our source system. But sometimes this has nothing to do with our actual system. Sometimes we need a new solution for it to solve this problem, or we want to have a long-term plan, what we can do. And this we will get directly here in the innovation recommendation. And they are also linked to our issues we have identified in the process flows or performance indicators. Also from there, I can directly go to the innovation recommendation. And then we have different categories where we can look into. So for example, I want to look into S/4HANA capabilities because I have planned a transformation to SAP S/4HANA. And then I want to understand, okay, where I have or which capabilities do I have there? And then you can directly look into these capabilities. And also here you see how relevant it is. This is based on your data. It's only available for some topics, and also how it is in the industry popularity. So how often your peers are using it. And then you can also click on these details. With clicking, for example, on this information, you are directly redirected outside of SAP Signavio Process Insights to the solution where it is described, where you can understand. So long term, it's directly a link outside of SAP Process Insights where we are coming to it. And with that, we have the full overview. First of all, the analysis part, process flows and performance indicators. And then we have here correction and innovation recommendation where we can take the action. So what we can do immediately, what we can do maybe in a half or in a year to implement a new solution directly available. To wrap it up, only that we have seen it, value analysis, the details of calculation, what is the value out of it, and in the end, the transformation planning, where we have the same information we have seen before, only with a focus on the transformation planning. So, for example, we have here also specific correction recommendation, what you should do before you start your transformation project, or what are relevant performance indicators where you have to look into in your recommendations. The only new topic I will show you that we have really discussed all is that we have linked to the process flow. The process flows you know that are the different milestones we are going through. Also the SAP best practice process flows, so the solution flow where you can directly open it also from here. So how it look like and what is behind there. Then the solution process flow, BPMN diagram where we see, okay, this is our solution process flow, but this link is also not working. I'm not sure what is today the problem. Let us use the other one. Here it looks better. I think it was the problem that I was not logged in. And here you see then the solution process flow and how it is described. So this linking is additional available here in the transformation planning. And with that, we are at the end of the time. We have managed it in time, and I have not the time to answer the questions. Sorry for that. If you're interested in more information, we have a lot of more helps like e-learnings, like other trainings which you can book. And when you go into it, you will find there, or you can go have a lot of more insights and going into it. The recording and so on, and also the presentation will be available for you afterwards, so you can go into it and also visit and go into the details again. With that, thank you for the session today. I hope you have learned a lot, and maybe we see us again in another session, in another setting. It would be great. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wilco. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you, Mrusha. Bye bye.